Hello, hello, and good morning. Welcome to a Soulful Sorrow February mini retreat. My name is Lolo, or Lauren, but my friends call me Lolo, which I consider everyone here in the Soulful Sisterhood a friend. And I'm just so honored that you're here today to really soak in the theme of love, if you guys can't tell from my PJs. Um, and this concept of how do we actually care and love for ourselves in the wake and of all these complexities after loss. And so today we're going to talk about some real tools. There'll be some reflection time for you, and then we'll end with some community time and just some reflections and connection. So this is truly an hour for you to get your cup filled, to relax. And I invite you wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's your car or your bed or your couch, wherever you are joining us from, you are safe to come as you are. So let me go ahead and share my screen and I'll pull up our little thing here. That is our course and community, that little ding going off. So let me hit present and then we'll kind of just dive right in to today. I'm really excited as I was creating this today. Um, I I was just really excited to share this one with you guys. So, um, okay. So yes, I kind of already introduced myself a bit, but obviously it's always nice to know who you're hanging out with, right? And so if we haven't formally met, I am Lauren. I founded A Soulful Sorrow in November of 2023. And I had a long journey of infertility and then followed by two back-to-back pregnancy losses. And when that happened, I was astounded, quite frankly, at just the sheer lack of real tools and resources out there. I know if you guys probably found me on Instagram, there is just a sea of quotes and communities and things like that. But honestly, a lot of them fell flat for me, and I mean that in the kindest way I can. And that the way I say this, and I want to be gentle with the way I say this because I think there's a lot of great resources out there, but I felt that the platitudes and the tonality was kind of all the same. Everyone was saying the same thing, and nobody was actually addressing the really deep-rooted pain and disconnection that I felt with myself, my body, my faith, my family, my partner. I was a completely new, different person, and I didn't know what to do with that after loss. And I felt like people were barely scratching the surface. And so the online space went from kind of helpful to really triggering. I don't know if you guys go through waves like that. And so I just kind of disengaged and I just went on this whole healing journey myself. And I felt like I couldn't find anything for pregnancy loss. There's a lot of grief resources out there. So I kind of just started to go down this grief pathway and started to go to seminars and trainings, and I would pick up tools that were helpful, but I found that I had to continually change the language or change things so that it was applicable to this specific type of loss, because pregnancy, infant loss, is very, very unique. And so basically, that this was 8 years ago, I started to kind of create this old pathway, unbeknownst to me at the time. Fast forward to last year when we launched, it had been years of God tugging at my heart and saying, you got to basically create the thing you wish you had. Because there's so many women who are still in it that need this. And so that is how A Soulful Sorrow began. And with my combination of my background, I've been a critical care nurse for over 12 years, working in very high intensity spaces. I'm very well versed in walking people through really treacherous moments of grief. So that is something that I really treasure and I feel like I'm built for. And also went and got trauma informed Holy Yoga certified. And that was another layer on that. And then dove into EMDR and breath work and all these things. So I have a lot of background when it comes to holistic healing. And yeah, so we basically offer holistic healing after pregnancy loss. And we have online courses and communities. And we really use neuroscience backed and spiritually infused holistic healing modalities. So you'll see if you're already a member, we have like yoga and breath work and somatic body work. So today you'll kind of get a little taste of what we do and who we are and the medicine that we are here in this space to create. Um, so please come as you are. And I just have to say, like, before we totally dive in here, to take a moment and to recognize that you are truly wildly courageous to show up in a space where honestly, you guys, it's just awkward. Let's just be honest. Being on Zoom, especially for something kind of vulnerable like this, is a huge step of courage, in my opinion. So I just commend you, and I am in awe and adoration of each one of you who showed up today. So just hold that and know that it's pretty incredible that you showed up for yourself today. And then today, as we move through this, there might be a lot of things that surface. We're going to talk about some real things, and you will probably reflect on or see things maybe after loss the first time that you're really like connecting the dots, or there might just be waves of emotion that come over you. That's okay. Here, we really try to practicing curiosity over judgment. So, and we'll get actually into it really deeply today about this curiosity versus judgment, because that is really the seed and the root of true self-care, if you really think about it. And we're going to reframe that of how to actually practice that curiosity. But when those moments come, or if you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing this journal prompt right, just be curious. Like, huh, okay, why am I feeling that way? Okay, I'm noticing I'm getting a little frustrated, or I'm noticing I'm getting a little heated or a little emotional. We just practice curiosity versus judgment. So there is no shoulds here. We do not should on ourselves at all here. Um, okay, an opening blessing and a candlelight. I just realized I need to go grab my book. I don't know if anyone else needs to grab a candle. You can do that now because I'm gonna go grab a book that I totally forgot to grab next to me. So I will be right back. But grab a candle if you haven't already. So if you have a candle, you can light it. If not, know that this candle here is lit in honor of my babies, your babies as well. So that's going to be right next to us here. And just a little opening and closing prayer, but her blessing. So this is blessing to open our time together. May you feel seen. May you feel heard. May you feel held. And in times when you do not, may you know that you are deserving of these things. May you be grounded. May you be slow. May you be gentle. And in times when you are not, may you return to your breath and simply be. May you know your body. May you know a softer way of being. May you know your worth. And in times when this is hard, may you choose yourself over others, even if only for a moment. And that moment is now, which is beautiful. And we get to do that and honor one another and ourselves. So first thing, kind of laying the framework down at the foundation, it's not you. And what I mean by that is, I know for me, I felt so minimized, especially because I had first trimester losses. Um, and and my doctor just really minimized it. Like, yeah, this happens all the time. It's not a big deal. It was a huge deal to me, right? And to us, because when we see those two pink lines, we think of our entire world with this little being. And when that's taken away, it is incredibly disorienting, and it's incredibly damaging when that grief and experience is completely minimized. So if you also feel that your grief has been minimized, rushed, pushed aside, you are not alone. And honestly, it's not you. It's really our world and society, school, culture, everything. We have yet to actually have contextual understanding, language, or even reverence for this type of experience. So in a world that's missed the mark, please know that in this space, I honor you. We honor each other. You are valid. Your story matters. Your loss matters. And your self-care matters deeply. So connecting to ourselves, again, really the root of self-care. In the wake of loss, it is so normal, like just normalizing this for ourselves, for us to feel disconnected from ourselves, from our body. I don't know if anybody else, and feel free to like pop in the chat if you're like, yes, me too. And if there's any questions, pop them in there and I'll read them at the end. But this disconnection and discombobulation almost of like the mind, body, and soul happens where you really it's this energetic shift, right? You're anticipating full co-creation, right, with creator, and you are like on this cloud nine moment, and all these people are celebrating, you're pregnant, it's so wonderful. And then when you go from this high emotion to then these low emotions of grief, loss, and death, it is a jolt to all of our systems, to our mind, to our body, to our soul. And people just don't talk about it like this. So if you have also felt not yourself, if you felt angry, if you have had distrust for your body, I don't know if that resonates. That deeply resonated with me, where I did not trust my body to do what it needed to do. And why couldn't my body and my hormones just do what they're meant to do? It was really heartbreaking. It's also a very physical loss, right? Whatever type of a loss you had, it's physical. Literally, we are experiencing death passing through our body in some capacity. And so it's just this intense emotion that we're experiencing in our body. And then it's also really easy to just default and get caught up in the tasks of this, right? Because it's kind of like a whirlwind and you're at appointments and you're getting blood work and you don't have your normal, routine. You're kind of thrown off completely. Like loss really touches on all parts of your world. So this is where we'll kind of talk about how do we practice this self-care. And it's almost a reframe of seeing our emotions that they can actually become our greatest teachers. With healing and growing, really what that means is that we're giving space for these emotions to move through us and with us. Because we're going to talk about when we live in a world, right? We already talked about that minimizes the experience. We're then kind of bottled up. If anybody's brewed kombucha here, like that fermentation, we are like bottled up. It's like shaking a can of soda. We're bubbling up, ready to explode with these like unprocessed emotions. And then when we just stuff it down and we live in a world that's telling us you're fine, it's not a big deal, we will ultimately express these emotions somehow, because emotions essentially are just energy in motion. It's actually in the word. So that's a really great reframe to remember. Okay, the emotions that I'm experiencing are truly energy in motion. And what is motion? It needs to be moved, right? So emotions actually hold like an energetic charge, and they just want to be witnessed. So when we do what we can to uncover what our emotions are here to teach us and show us, it is like an entire new world and understanding of ourselves, and truly the deepest type of self-care that we can have. So I love this saying. If you guys read The Body Tells the Score, issues are in the tissues, 100%. There's science to back this up. Our body is almost like a diary of the emotional experiences that we've gone through, even since a kid. Any traumatic experience, actually, there's cellular information in our bodies that remember things. I've talked to so many moms that experience intense physical symptoms on the date of like a special date, like their due date, or, any significant date, the date that they lost their baby. And it's like the body knows, the body remembers that experience, the body remembers that emotion, whether we know that or not. And so depressed emotion, holding it in, not having the tools to really express or process, not having a safe community to do that in, depressed emotion really becomes this root of dis-ease of the mind and body. And so how we interact and have a relationship, right, with our grief is so important. And that's what we do here at A Soulful Sorrow, is we help champion and come around women and help them understand this is a journey and this is a relationship almost with your loss. And it's this thing like any other, experience or relationship. You have to learn it. You have to work it out. It's with practice and repetition. And so just getting nerdy, if there's any other nerds in the house, hello. The science of emotion. So energetic charge of each emotion. This is also scientifically studied. And it's nothing crazy or woo-woo. It's literally studied where there's actually frequencies connected to how we feel. So like if you've heard like be high vibe, this is what those people are talking about. They're saying like get up in the high vibe, in the love and the joy and the peace, right? We all know that we actually feel better. There's actually a frequency connected to that. And then when we go down the spectrum, where we go from expanded to contracted, there's suffering here. And that's where the grief and the apathy and the guilt and the shame hang out. And gosh, guilt and shame are big companions, unfortunately, in the lost mama community. Over 78% of women have reported that they feel some type of guilt or shame for their loss. I know that like when I was in the thick of it, mentally, I was spiraling and I felt like I did something wrong. That feeling of we did something wrong is universal and so normal if you felt that. So emotions can really be experienced in any part of the body. So if you guys have had, for me, I'll just be really vulnerable. I actually developed panic disorder after my losses. And that was my body telling me that there were so many pent up emotions that were dismissed, rushed. I did not give myself time to process or grieve. And I just pushed myself back into the world, pushed myself back into work. And I started having panic attacks. There was so much emotion and unprocessed grief that I didn't know what to do with it. So my body was trying to alert me that it needed attention. Now, this is really cool. I believe it was Harvard that studied the lifespan of emotion. And so this is going to be really important when we go into this little somatic experience we'll try together. The lifespan of an emotion is only 60 to 90 seconds, meaning when you start to feel, let's say we have a trigger, right? We see a mama who is just as far along as we should have been. That is a huge trigger, right? We see her, okay, the emotions are starting to come in, the guilt, shame, jealousy, whatever you're starting to feel, it actually begins to peak at 20 seconds. And so what we do as humans, we actually we start to recognize, okay, here we are. I'm starting to feel something. I'm getting uncomfortable. It's almost peaking at that 20-second realm, right? And so we have two choices here. We can resist and then we numb, which, hello, we all do this. We grab our phones, we grab wine, we do whatever we can to make ourselves busy and to just numb out this pain. And there's actually a healthy time and place to do this because we can't always go into the depths of what we're feeling, right? But if we continue to numb, the feeling will just persist. And what we resist will repeat. And what we feel, we can heal. And so the other pathway in pink is like, okay, this emotions are coming up. I'm getting really uncomfortable. I'm going to resist it because I'm a human. But then instead of the judgment, we have curiosity and we say to ourselves, I'm reaching for my phone right now. I am trying to numb myself right now. And we notice the resistance. And then instead of having judgment, we just say, oh, hey, jealousy, hey, sadness, hey, anxiety, hey, panic attack, whatever it is. Hi, you are welcome here. And you almost just sit. And I know this sounds like kind of difficult and it takes a lot of practice, but we just welcome the feeling. You're welcome here. You're not afraid of it anymore. You're not resisting it anymore. It is a full paradigm shift. And so then your body actually relaxes. And then you go into actually being able to witness the sensations. Oh, and we'll actually practice this today. Okay, I feel jealous. I feel angry. Where do I feel that in my body? My shoulders are tense. Got it. Okay. And we practice self-care in the moment when it's happening. Or, okay, I'm getting a little tight in the chest. I'm going to open up my chest and I'm going to begin to take a couple deep breaths. And then once we do these things and we just witness the feeling passes. Feelings are fickle. They honestly are like these nagging things that really just want to be, just like we all are. They just want to be tenderly acknowledged, truly. And once we're able to look at them and acknowledge them, they actually begin to shrink and lose their power. And then science tells us in 60 to 90 seconds, actually, that intensity will naturally dissipate. But we never get that natural dissipation and that natural healing when we continue to numb because we just get stuck in this pattern. So, trying to click forward here. So, this will be like a really easy, simple practice for us to try together. A somatic body scan. So somatics just mean getting into the body. So breath work. Oh, this is what Jeanette, and I don't know if Jeanette is here today. She's a member, but she talked about how like the breath work and the body work was something she really appreciates in our time together. And she just said, it really allows me to surrender, become more present, and be able to dive into my emotions after loss. Yeah, when we're able to actually allow our bodies to feel safe, which will help you figure out how to do that, and I'll give you some tools, then we're actually able to go deeper and reflect. So we'll do a little about 5-minute body scan, and I'll lead you through that. What that looks like is just getting cozy and turning off your camera if you haven't already. And if you can sit or lay, do that. But basically, we want you in a comfortable, safe space that you feel okay closing your eyes for a couple minutes. And closing our eyes just helps us kind of get into our body a little bit more and have a little bit more awareness of what's going on. So if you haven't already, go ahead and get cozy. And this will just be 5 minutes. We're basically just going to do a body scan, and I will lead you through this, but it's kind of going to be almost as if pretend like it's going to be like a X-ray scan. And I'll lead you through paying attention to all parts of our body, starting at our head, scanning all the way down through our toes. And then we're going to hone in on the spots that feel active, the spots that feel tense or crunchy. And then we'll breathe there for a moment. And then right after this, we'll actually grab our journals and then reflect on what came up for us. So pretty simple. If you've never done something like this, just be gentle with yourself. So if you haven't already, go ahead and get cozy. And before we dive right in, right, I'm gonna actually teach you a little easy trick to help calm your body down. And you guys can do this when you have those intense emotions or if you have anxiety. This is a great way to calm down the body. It's called eyeball yoga. And basically, you are just going to look straight ahead with your eyes still open and start to look left and right. You don't have to use your finger. I'm just kind of showing you, but just look left and right with your eyeballs, and your head is looking straight. And what's going to happen, it's already happening for me, you're going to start to feel this urge to take a deep breath or to yawn. And what that is, that's actually your vagus nerve starting to calm down your system and telling your body that you're not in fight or flight. You actually are safe to close your eyes. You're safe to relax. So go ahead and start to practice that left and right. And when you feel the urge to yawn or take a deep breath, go ahead and start to close down your eyes and just get in the body. I'm going to play some music for us here. And if your eyes are finally closed, go ahead and just start to wiggle and make contact with wherever your surface is beneath you. So if that's your bed or your couch or your chair, go ahead and just kind of shift your weight around, feeling that surface beneath you, feeling that support underneath you. And go ahead and just start to pay attention to your breath. Doing your best now to just start to inhale a little deeper And exhale a little longer. To do that 2 more times. Big inhale. Long exhale. You can sigh it out. One more deep inhale. Sigh it out. And now just beginning to come into the body and just tuning in to what is coming up. Practicing curiosity and not judgment. We'll begin at the very crown of the head, tuning in and just witnessing maybe what's going on in our mind. Maybe our mind is empty. Maybe there's racing thoughts, or am I doing this right? This is weird feelings or whatever. Just noticing and coming back down all the way through the back of the neck, the front, our voice, our throat. If we feel like we've been silenced or minimized, that can sometimes feel constricted. Just noticing the sensations present, coming down through the heart space, our chest, our shoulders. And finally, at this heart space, there's a lot of emotion here. Does this heart space feel contracted or expanded? Does it feel closed or open? Maybe there's just an ache here. Just noticing. Coming down through the belly, noticing any sensations here. Coming down through the womb space that holds so much energetically for us right now. Again, noticing if there's pangs of sadness, anger, just sorrow, just noticing. Coming down through the hips that also hold so much emotion for us. Down through the thighs, the knees, the calves and shins, ankles, toes, and finally the bottom of your feet. So now that you've tuned in and scanned through your body, go ahead and just ask yourself, where was there the most activity? Or just you just sensed the most was going on there, even if you can't quite put your finger on it. So maybe that was your heart space or your womb space or your throat or your head. If it feels appropriate for you, you can actually go ahead and place a hand or two over that space. Practicing those breaths. And if it's helpful with your inhale, saying, I am here. And on your exhale, say, I am listening. So I am here and I am listening. Do that a few more times. If you'd like, you can keep your hands there. Or if it's more comfortable, you can bring your hands to your heart space over your chest here. And just simply almost bow your chin to your heart as if you're listening in, eagerly leaning toward the center of your emotion, the center of your being and soul. Tuning in here and listening and lovingly asking yourself, what would self-care look like for me in this moment, in this day? What would self-care feel like in this day? And now I want you to think of any major emotion that you picked up on. So if it's anger or sadness or jealousy, whatever big emotion is coming up, I want you to imagine that and you can actually physically, if it's helpful, bring your palms out in front of you as if you're closing your eyes, waiting for somebody to give you a gift. So holding out your hands in front of you in your mind's eye or physically, I want you to actually place that emotion in your hands now. And I want you to lovingly look at this emotion, this part of you. And I want you, if you can, to give yourself grace, love, and compassion to this part of you, this emotion that is showing itself, that just wants to be witnessed. And again, can you tell it, I'm here and I am listening? And now I want you to also think of all of the incredible 9 other mamas that are with you, holding these emotions side by side with you. You're not doing this alone. And we know that this part of ourselves and that this emotion is here to serve us in some way. And we know that it'll come back to us. But for the time being today, what we're going to do together is actually envelop this into a little bubble. Go ahead and do that now in your mind's eye, placing this pain or this emotion in a bubble. And together, we're actually just going to release that up, watching our bubbles floating up, up, and up until we can barely see them. Coming back into your own body, your own experience, just giving yourself grace and gratitude for being brave and listening and tuning in. So go ahead and give yourself a little hug, physically or not. And as we close out our time, just giving yourself that shine of gratitude towards yourself. And then when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your toes and fingers, and then just start to gently begin to open your eyes again. And when you feel ready to, you can actually go ahead and grab your journal. And together, we are just going to reflect a little bit. So this is kind of a question to ask yourself. You don't have to journal this part. I have separate journal prompts, but it's just helpful to know where in your body did you sense stored up tension or pain? And can you sense what emotion, feeling, or belief wants from you or wants you to know? So maybe that came up for you. Maybe it didn't. That's okay. So with your journal in hand, we're going to do something just for about 5 minutes. And I know that sounds like, what, 5 minutes to write? This is how it works. It's actually really beautiful. It's called free flow journaling. And so what you'll do is you're going to want to keep your pen or pencil to your paper the whole 5 minutes. And it goes by faster than you think. But what you're going to do is try your best to stay writing. And so if you just, pull a blank or it's just not working for you, you can doodle. You can write blah, blah, blah until another thought drops in. So this is really for you to have fun with and to make it your own. Here are some journal prompts here that you can begin to start with, and you can just focus on one that calls out to you, or you can do all of them, or maybe 3 of them, whatever you feel drawn to. Go ahead, grab your pen and paper, and I'm going to go ahead and play a couple songs for us in the meantime, and then we'll come back together, okay? And you have just under a minute. So if you'd like to kind of wrap up a thought, go ahead and do that. 15 minutes by myself only a couple years ago. I remember each time trying to keep my life in boxes. Wasn't ready to call it home. I tried dancing around the kitchen to feel lighter, and punching holes in walls to feel more control. And I would have set every on fire if I had somewhere else to go. Grief is a house in a rough part of town. Sure costs a lot for a place you wouldn't choose to send. But I know now you gotta move in if you ever wanna move out. So fill the closet with your clothes and buy it. Grief is a house. Okay. So if you are like totally feeling it and in flow, keep it going. um, I don't know how great this audio is if you're able to hear the song I just played, and I can share it with you guys later, but it's called Grief is a House by Jess McKinley. And she says, basically that like grief is this house and this place that you feel like you never really want to be in. It's in this rough part of town and it's a place that you are forced to live in. And she says, if you ever want to move out, you have to move in. And she talks about making a home in this grief. Sorry, it makes me cry when I think about that. And it's so true. Um, and there's another saying that you probably will hear me say a lot, but you can't let go what you don't let in first. And so you guys just did a lot of really beautiful work to really let things in. And that is actually the very first thing to do in order to help ourselves let these things go. And I also want to be clear that this healing journey that we are all on, this is something, a misunderstanding I feel like a lot of mamas have, is that they feel like if I do the work to heal, I'm somehow forgetting my loss. I'm somehow leaving my baby behind. And I just hope that this is a beautiful reframe if you feel that guilt a little bit, that our babies, I genuinely believe, came to teach us so many beautiful lessons and so many things. And if we continue to pretend like that grief's not here or these things that are coming up because they existed, right? We just continue to try to move through it and move on. I think that is a disservice, right? But when we're actually able to let it in and let it change us and transmute this grief into beautiful growth, that I think is some of the best and most deepest work we can do. So you guys just did it. And I hope that you feel so proud of yourselves because I am. So before we jump into some connective time and reflection as a group, I just want to close out our time with the same blessing. So if you want, you can close your eyes and receive these words. May you feel seen. May you feel heard. May you feel held. And in times when you do not, may you know that you are deserving of all these things. May you be grounded. May you be slow. May you be gentle. And in times when you are not, may you return to your breath and simply be. May you know your body. May you know a softer way of being. May you know your worth. And in times when that is hard, may you choose yourself over others, even if only for a moment. So thank you guys so much for being here. You honored yourself, you honored your story, your baby, and just take a moment to show gratitude for yourself and for everyone else here on this little journey of self-care together. I hope that this really was like a warm hug to your soul. And it's really hard, you guys. If you found us probably on social media, I'm guessing, it's really hard, truly, to try to express this full vision and this full medicine that we're here to share. So I just want to share our heart. We really exist to evolve the narrative and experience of pregnancy loss from taboo and coldly clinical to socially inclusive and sacredly approached. And we do this with gracious honor and reverence for this transformational experience that it deserves. It is an honor to guide women along this healing journey to transmute this grief into meaningful ways in our stories, our lives, in our very being, so that we can truly emerge as more whole, more healed, and more wise women. We offer practical step-by-step holistic healing framework to help women through this experience and this soulful sorrow, right? Through our online guides, programs, and community. And the reason that I named it a soulful sorrow is because I feel like this sorrow that we all know so intimately is usually silenced, siloed, and separate, right? And we're pushed to the side. And so we're here to really wrap around support, sisterhood tools, and really normalize the experience and help bring healing in a really beautiful, rich, soulful way. And the way that we do that, like the heart of our program, the heart of who we are, is right inside of our program. That's actually how it all started. It is our step-by-step healing method. And so it's this space that you get to enter into. And it literally is a laid out healing pathway, step by step, that you get to guide yourself through step by step, as slow or as quickly as you'd like. Within this container, you have a safe and engaged community from all over the world. We also have a resource library with meditations, nature walks. You get to pop in your earphones, go walk outside and work out some of these emotions that we are starting to talk about today. There's a little bit of yoga classes and podcasts and guides and workshops. I mean, we connect and talk with so many different experts as well on this topic. So there's just a plethora of things out in our program for you to continue to come back to and heal. We also do monthly support groups and workshops. So just like this, we meet every month inside of our program. So it's a private meeting with just our members. And then we also do one-on-one grief mentorship. And we also facilitate some beautiful ceremonies. There's somebody here who I just facilitated a couple weeks ago, a really beautiful remembrance ceremony for their precious baby girl. And so we just offer the things that we feel like should be offered to lost mamas that just simply aren't. And I just think that that is just so crazy and wild. And we are here to really help bridge that gap. And so I'm going to actually show you guys what our program and actually community looks like. So let's see if this will help. Let me do it. It might be slow, but we'll get there. So I want you guys to see exactly what it looks like. I know there's actually some members here that can vouch for how awesome this is, but basically it's like an app that you can access on your desktop or on your phone. And my computer is freezing, of course. So what it looks like, it kind of looks and feels like a little intimate Facebook group almost. And so you're able to make a profile and you're able to talk to other mamas who also experience the same type of loss that you've experienced. You're able to connect and chat with all of us. And as you're going through these modules and you're growing and learning through the course and the all of the materials, you're able to comment and ask questions and reply to each other. And it's just such a rich, beautiful experience. So I'm gonna actually hit stop share and actually reboot it and see if it will help let me do it now. Because maybe it's just having a moment. Maybe it just didn't have its coffee. Let's take a peek and see. No, it's still frozen as could be. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I'll try to share again. Okay. So all that to say, it is such a gorgeous, beautiful heart of our community. So if you're not already a member, go ahead and become one because we would love to have you and welcome you. And inside, you will find so many incredible resources and support tools. And I'm going to actually pull up what I can't pull up right now for you, because what I put together is actually some really beautiful comments directly from our community. And so these are just some reviews and what other mamas have said. Nana from India says, right from the start, this felt like such a welcoming space where you can just come as you are. The combinations of the tools from the program with the live calls were incredibly helpful as I made sense of life after loss. And the most importantly, doing this alongside of other women who had been through similar experiences were incredibly healing. Liz from the UK says, since joining, I've gained clarity, peace, connection, and healing that I desperately needed. I'm absolutely more connected to my family, my husband, God, my inner self, and not to mention my inner child because of this program and community too. It's pretty cool. Odeli, who I actually think is here. I'm sorry, Odeli. Or I'm not sorry, because this is so beautiful. You said the fact that Lulu gives long-lasting access to the course curriculum with trauma-informed guided activities and opportunities to reflect on inner awareness and resilience is so unique. I feel like I've made friends in different parts of the world that validated my experience, all while we were healing together with the same intentions. It's so beautiful. And then Hayden from the US says, the community and support was like no other. It's very hard for me to fathom where I would be without it. A safe place to arrive, no matter how I was authentically showing up that day, truly made a difference in how I felt held and supported during the hardest chapter of my life. I would recommend her community and containers to anyone out there just to let them know that they're not alone. Oh, pretty incredible. Our members are truly some of the most incredible humans. And we just have such an incredible community out there. So right now, if you guys want to join, I always offer a discount for anybody who comes to these meetings because I just want to honor your bravery for being here. So when you go to checkout, you can actually click the promo code and type in loved in all caps, and then that will actually give you 20% off. So it takes the price from 111 US to 88 US. And then, like I said, you have lifetime access. You can always access it no matter what, which is really great. Okay, the other really exciting thing that we just made, I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, is our healing guide, our guided healing journal. So if you really felt like you loved the journaling and reflecting, this actually has a lot more of that in there, and it is just such a gorgeous book. There's a dedication page. I'm sorry if this is grainy, but you can actually dedicate the journal to your lost baby. There's a lot of beautiful coloring pages with affirmations. There's mental health daily check-ins, which is really, really neat and really helps you focus on what care you need in that day. There's, again, affirmations and prayers in there as well. There's again, these like journal prompts to kind of help get some emotion out. And then there's some really gorgeous little letters in the back that you're actually able to write letters to your baby. And so this is really designed and meant to be a keepsake. I wanted to give you guys something tangible that you can actually look back on and reflect on your words, reflect on your healing journey, and continue to write to babies. So maybe you write to your baby, every year on the anniversary or whatever feels right for you. So that is now available, I believe, worldwide on Amazon, which is exciting. I know we have somebody in Scotland and Africa. So let me know if you guys can't get it, and I'm happy to actually like ship it to you. We can figure it out. But if you feel called and want that tangible tool, please get it. And then it also is a really, really great companion to the program. So if you're thinking of doing both, I suggest getting this too, because it just helps get a little bit deeper into the healing journey too. Let me just see if I'm forgetting anything, because there's so many exciting things going on. And that is pretty much it. If my computer wakes up, I can share the links directly to you in the chat. That's what I was planning on doing. And it's not letting me because it's still frozen, but that's okay. So now we're actually going to shut down the recording time and just reflect with the mamas who are here in real time. So if you're listening on a recording, we love you. Thank you for being here. And please join us for the next time so that way you can participate and really connect and reflect together as a group. So we'll shut down the recording. Bye, guys. And if you